Good morning, guys. Laura here from Hedgehog's Homestead. Today I'm getting out into the big garden, our vegetable garden, and I am going to pull our garlic. Now they are way past prime, so this video is about not keeping your garlic in as long. And the reason why I kept my garlic in so long, guys, is because of the very fact that I have a sciatica problem. A bulge disc in my back caused sciatica. Now, Wednesday, after we did the pigs, the next day, or Tuesday, we moved the pigs into the trailer. I'm not going to be able to do that next time. I got to sit down. The next morning, or around 11 o'clock, I had a procedure where they inject your bulge disc with hormones. Steroids. And so after that, which I didn't know, I thought that was just going to fix my problem. But the nerve is damaged that runs down my leg that has caused the sciatica. And so now we're waiting for that to heal. And that can take up to a year or more. And so this first week I can't lift a whole lot. And then I can do light gardening stuff, but I can't do heavy gardening stuff. So the garden looks a mess. I'm gonna just, I haven't mowed, I haven't anything because of but I'm still growing stuff because that's what I do. I grow stuff. I love gardening. I get that from my mother, and so I've done the best that I can, but I wasn't paying enough attention to the garlic, and I should have been out of there probably a month ago. You really want your first two leaves to turn yellow, and then you pick it because it can shrink up and get bad underneath. So we'll see what it looks like, and I'll show you guys. And this is just an honest video about what happens when life goes a little bit awry when you're 55 and you got back problems and you got sciatica problems, and it is what it is. I don't want to be whining, but I want to tell the truth of the situation. My garden wouldn't normally look this bad. It would be a little bit weedy, but it wouldn't look this bad. But it is what it is. Okay, so these are the tools I'm using to make it easier on myself as I garden. I have this handy dandy present that my daughter gave me, and a cart that I can wheel around the garden and add my garlic to, and then I don't have to lift it. Maybe this man can help me lift it later. I don't know, but we'll get it in the garlic, getting it out of here maybe later. I got to probably set up a table or two to put the garlic on. So I'm gonna go get the garlic from the garden. All right, looking forward to this. So guys, this is what happens when you leave your garlic in too long. It starts to split the bulb. This is a real small garlic. So the bulb starts splitting, and then it could start rotting. And what would happen is all these bulbs would start a new garlic. So you're not losing your garlic if you leave it in the ground. You're just getting more, but that's what it looks like. It's kind of hard to show. See how the bulb is splitting like that? That's what I mean. When they get to this point, their tops will break off. So I'm using a hori to just dig it out. So, and I was waiting for the soil to get a little drier. And right now we have another storm coming, so make sure that when these first two leaves go, the first two right down here are done, that guys you're picking off are getting it out of the ground. When it's this far, it's too far gone. Sometimes people are tempted to leave it in the ground longer because they think they'll get a bigger bulb, but anything usually or once you get to summer solstice, you're getting too close to that becoming a really big problem. So guys, let's take a minute and learn from our garlic harvest. I'll show you my harvest real quick. I don't even know how many bulbs I have here, but I have a lot. And I can show you, you can kind of diagnose your problems and troubleshoot them this time of year when you're getting your garlic out of the garden. We already know, we talked earlier about how I really pulled my garlic really on the late side. Two signs that you've pulled your garlic on the late side is that your leaves are really dead. Another sign is this one totally separated from its stem because it was so done. And why it starts to separate, and then the cloves actually, you can see there, start to separate from the bulb. That's why you get weird shapes like that. Let me show you some other sign. This is a garlic head that was planted too close to another garlic. This is also what happens when you too many cloves close together. You can see that right there. And so those are some of the signs. Now, this is a good head of garlic, right? Nice and big. This was grown in really, really good soil. Plus it had good feedings. Mostly what you want to do with your garlic, guys, a good balanced fertilizer all the way out. I use a 444, and my 444 is literally duck water. Ducks poop in water. I take it to the garden and I give it to them. The problem with the way that I garden is that it's a little bit unpredictable because of that very fact that I use duck water. And if I don't calculate, I went to that bed so many times or that bed so many times, I can end up with different size heads. So garlic that wasn't put together at this, or what fertilized the same. Good soil. You want soil that is soft, not too hard. Clay, this was growing in clay in some spots, but the top of the soil was really together pretty well. So make sure, kind of calculate, okay, I use a 444. If you're going to use something that is that mild in fertilizer, you're going to want to repeat it more often. Some of the fertilizers that they recommend for onion and garlic are very heavy stuff, like a 10-10-10, 20-20-20. You want that balance. I like that balance in growing onions and growing garlic, because it helps form that bulb. On both your onions and your garlic, a lot of green leaf. This is an onion I grew, and you can see how thick that neck is. See how thick that neck is, and see how thick those leaves are. That's what you want when you're growing onions, if you want big onions, right? On the garlic, when you get big garlic, one way to know that your garlic is going to be a decent size before you pull it out of the ground is how big is that neck. If that neck is really big, you're going to have big garlic. And if your neck is big, that means you gave that plant enough nitrogen to start off with. Now the phosphorus and everything else develops that bulb. So that is feeding all of that. That is going to come later. You continue to feed all of this stuff, onions and garlic, until it's time to start bulbing. That is like about 4 to 6 weeks before summer solstice, most of the time.
Look, I need food, woman. I don't need you to be out here doing no videos and whatnot. And I'm hungry.
You're hungry?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about, for me, ignoring the garden?
No, it's a good haul.
It's a good haul. So anyways, I was just telling them that, you know, how good our duck water works and stuff like that. So we need to get some more ducks. So
Yeah, okay, sure.
thanks for
I gotta
feeding the
take a
pigs. I need a shower too, but I'll make you dinner.
Turn on the oven. That'd be a good start. Huh?
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it,
Dogs
guys.
hot? You hot dogs?
Yeah, it's hot out here.
It's
It's
steamy.
muggy. I'm a little worried. I almost want to put these under a fan or put a fan out here.
Okay.
Because it's so muggy here in Tennessee. I want to probably do a fan intermittently on these. I really wanted to put them in the shop under a big fan, but this is the way it's going to be. But I have a problem. So anyways, to get back to my thoughts, and you also know that your garlic has been in the ground. When you get your garlic bending over like that, and look how I mean, there's hardly any green on that garlic, right? Here's a bigger one, same thing, bending over. You don't want your garlic to bend over. It's not like onions. Onions you want to bend over and on their side before you take them out of the garden. Garlic, that's the difference between garlic and onions. Now let me find, there was a couple garlics in here. And it doesn't happen with every variety, but what you do is you can get seed from them coming up the scape. Now, if you let your garlic go in the ground way too long, it's going to totally separate and it's going to try to make plants. And that's how you know, if you are pulling vegetables out of the garden and their seeds are really big or they're getting flowers, other than the kind that already get flowers, to make fruit, then they are going to seed and you are harvesting them too late. So anyways, let me show you my haul. This is a table full here, and then this is a table full here, and I need to buy another table or something. I actually need to make a rack for drying onions and garlic. So they are nice and full already. So I have no room for the onions that are gonna start coming out of the garden in droves. Over the next 4 weeks, we're gonna have onions probably filling the whole place. What I did last time is I put them on our hot tub because we don't use our hot tub usually in the summer because it's way too hot to use a hot tub. So way too muggy to get into a hot tub and get muggy. So anyways, thank you for watching, guys. God bless you, and we'll see you next time here on Hedgehog's Homestead. Bye.